Welcome, everybody. We start today in Wisconsin and Florida. First of all, Wisconsin, where Donald Trump and Elon Musk's money got absolutely flattened. We've been following the race for a single Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin, which really turned into a very high stakes, high money national showdown. And there's a very clear winner here, and there's a very clear loser. The winner is Susan Crawford, the liberal judge backed by Democrats, absolutely crushing Trump-endorsed Brad Schimel by more than 8 points. Now, you might say, David, sir.
That is a frickin' predator right there.
Right. No, you might say, David, sir, crushed, it's only 8 points. But you have to understand the context. The context is Wisconsin is a state that presidentially has been so tight, sometimes coming down to 1/5 of a percentage point. And secondly, there were millions of Elon Musk's dollars here. Elon Musk essentially burned $25 million, failing to get Brad Schimel elected here. Here is Susan Crawford laying it out exactly as it is, which is we really beat back an anti-democratic effort.
So today, Wisconsinites fended off an unprecedented attack on our democracy. That's right. Our fair elections and our Supreme Court. And Wisconsins stood up and said loudly that justice does not have a price. Our courts are not for sale.
Listen, Elon bought himself a president. He did it. But he failed to buy himself a Supreme Court justice and Supreme Court judge, a Wisconsin state Supreme Court judge. And bear in mind that Elon Musk did the doom and gloom dystopian predictions where he said that if Susan Crawford wins this seat, the state will fall. He's predicting complete and total disaster as a result of this result. So the result alone is big. The context is even bigger because of the money that flooded in, Musk dumping in the $21 million directly into the campaign. He gave a couple $1 million checks and also flew to Wisconsin a bunch of times and expended a bunch of other money with his private jet. All in all, this is probably $25 million. And it didn't work. And in fact, it might have backfired. It's certainly conceivable. What we're hearing anecdotally, to put it a better way, what we're hearing anecdotally is that voters are rejecting the pay-to-play, power play for Musk and Trump because some of them, enough Wisconsinites, don't want to see the richest man on earth, or maybe second richest, try to buy their court. And what Crawford said, you know, it's idealistic. Justice doesn't have a price. Our courts are not for sale. With 150 million, maybe Elon would have been able to buy it. I mean, I do think that there is a price, but it's not one that he spent. And this was not about just one judge, because the Wisconsin Supreme Court rules on abortion, it rules on voting rights, it rules on redistricting, things that decide future elections. And so this is absolutely huge. And liberals have locked in a majority in the Wisconsin Supreme Court until at least 2028. Now, Musk and Trump are trying to spin it. Musk ranted about the corruption of the judiciary. Of course, he was the one trying to corrupt the judiciary by buying a state Supreme Court seat. Some on the right are saying it's rigged. One woman shouted cheater when Schimel conceded. She said cheater about Susan Crawford. But the facts are the facts, and she won and Schimel lost. And this was the first real electoral test of Donald Trump's second term. It did not go well. Now, there is another kind of important takeaway here, which is that even though we are in this era of performative politics and billionaires on stages and endless spin, you can get to a point where despite tens of millions of bucks pouring in, voters say, enough. And that happened here. It doesn't mean that money will always lose. In fact, money typically wins, but it shows that you can beat money. It's not just a win for Susan Crawford. It's really a win for the idea that democracy can punch back. Now, Donald Trump is trying to spin it as a win. He posted to his platform, Truth Social,
Truth Central,
quote, Voter ID just approved in Wisconsin election. Democrats fought hard against this, presumably so they can cheat. This is a big win for Republicans, maybe the biggest win of the night. It should allow us to win Wisconsin like I just did in the presidential election for many years to come. So Trump is completely ignoring the results of the Supreme Court race and just saying, hey, voter ID won. Now, let me tell you the truth about this. Trump is referring to a voter ID amendment as if it's some massive win. Voter ID has already been the law in Wisconsin since 2016. The only thing that happened with voter ID last night was that it was added to the state constitution. It's already been in the law for nearly a decade. Nothing changed. But instead of acknowledging that his candidate lost, which Trump never does, he pretends like they never existed. He says, we got a really big victory here, as opposed to, damn, we poured 25 million bucks into this thing and it didn't work. Trump must think his base won't notice or won't care, and he's probably right. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Florida race. In the 6th district of Florida, the Democrat lost, okay? The Democrat in that race was Josh Weil, was defeated by Randy Fine by 14 points, 56-42. Now, I'm going to give you a word of caution here for the right. They are cheering this like it is a massive victory because the Republican won by 14. But what you have to consider is that 6 months ago, Trump won the very same district by 30. So what happened here is that Trump's margin of victory was cut in half for a Republican in just 6 months. If they want to pretend that this is a massive endorsement of the MAGA Trump agenda by electing this Randy Fine, they can go ahead and do that. But if I were Republicans and I saw November Trump wins by 30, April 1st, the MAGA candidate wins by only 14, I'm worried. That's my takeaway. Your mileage may vary, buyer beware. People in my audience know I am a bit of a pastry connoisseur. Our sponsor, Wild Grain, is the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. Wild Grain's boxes are customizable depending on what you like and prefer. They've got their classic variety box. They've launched the new gluten-free box. They have a plant-based box that's 100% vegan. And it just takes the hassle out of baking because all items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less, nothing to clean up. My experience has been awesome. I love the croissants. I was having people over last week, half an hour before, preheat and throw them in the oven, and people love it. Definitely, the croissants are my favorite. The quality and the freshness of the items is extraordinary, and it is just so convenient. Go to wildgrain.com/Pacman to start your subscription and get $30 off your first box, plus free croissants in every box every month. The link is in the description.